Good morning and welcome to TSLNIGERIA TV, Politics and Power, your regular program that comes to you every week. Today I'm having a very exciting guest, Barrister Douglas Obakwa. Sorry if I murdered your name. I seem to struggle to pronounce the Obakwa, right? Obakwa.
That's fine, Obankwa.
Obakwa, yeah. Thank you very much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Today we are looking at third force. You know, in the last couple of years, Nigerians have been demanding what we call a third force, an alternative to the PDP and the APC. The PDP, as we all know, have dominated the politics of Nigeria since 1999, until the APC came on board in 2015. And a lot of Nigerians are thinking that they need something new. So with the Peter Obi Labour movement coming on board, most people are saying that that is the third force that we have been looking for. Do you agree to that assertion?
Very well. The Obi movement, actually, it's an exciting development. I totally agree with you on your comments in introduction that Nigeria actually needs a third force. However, we must look at the nitty-gritty of the issues. In trying to situate the issues, you must understand politics to a reasonable extent. I laugh sometimes when I read some of the comments and you see about the Obi movement, so to speak. I am a person that dwells on practicality and not the bandwagon effect. So within the last 2 months, there have been 2 elections in Nigeria. The one at Ekiti, APC won it. The one at Osun, PDP won it. And you ask the question, where was Labour Party in all these equations? In between both elections, Labour Party did not score up to 20,000 votes. And the 2 major political parties in Nigeria scored close to, I think, about 30 million votes out in both states. And in winning the presidential elections, you must win 2/3 of 1/3 of the states of the federation. And so what does that mean? It means you must get an absolute majority in at least 12 of the 36 states in Nigeria. So the question you ask is, how is that possible for the so-called Nigerian third force in view of the prevailing circumstances we find ourselves? I drove past somewhere in Benin yesterday and I saw for the first time inside the GRA, Labour Party Ward 5. Do you understand? Like, for the very first time since the beginning of Nigerian democracy. There are people who wake up in the morning, all they do is that they eat politics, they drink politics. When they say, what do you do for a living, they write politician.
Exactly.
It's not a joke. The Obi movement will do very well in terms of developing the narrative for a change one day. But I do not feel it can win these presidential elections. I have had the privilege of participating in an election as a voter, as an election observer, doing so for international agencies as what do you call it, an official of INEC, and also as a litigator, as a lawyer up to the Supreme Court. And I can tell you that elections are not the way Nigerians think they are. They're very complex. And the first thing I'll tell Nigerian youth is you should understand the complex country you live in, else you become a pawn in a complex game of chess. We find situations in conventions where candidates are buying, they don't buy delegates. Do you understand? They buy fellow candidates. And when they buy those candidates, they buy their delegates. So you will not be surprised if that could replicate itself in the general elections, that people are buying voters by proxy, by buying a candidate before the elections. It's possible. It has happened before. So
I was able to come there because the pictures of Peter Obi meeting with former President Obasanjo, meeting with some of the aggrieved PDP governors and all of that. And most people on social media said that, particularly Keyamo wrote something that was quite damaging, saying that Peter Obi is systematically working for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, knowing that he was his former running mate in the last election and all of that. So, do you have anything to say concerning that?
Well, I do not have facts to prove that that could be a political statement. But
it's possible to buy a candidate.
I've just said that.
Yeah.
That if you could do that at the primaries, you could do that at the general elections. Now, I want to ask Nigerian youth listening very pertinent questions. Number one, how come Peter Obi has suddenly become the statistician general of the Federation? Where was he 4 years ago? Where were these statistics? I happened to be a rapporteur during the NBA national elections, and I was sitting very close to him. And I asked myself a question. These statistics you are saying now, why did you say it when we were Atiku's running mate 4 years ago? Now, you have been governor of Anambra State. I've been to Anambra lately. And you are governor for 8 years. You still collected the so-called security votes that every governor has collected. Let me tell you something Nigerians should know. Each of the major contenders for the Nigerian presidency are part of the circle that runs this country. Anybody that wins is a win-win situation. They're all friends. They're all businessmen. They have things they share together. If you don't know that. So do not think Obi will bring anything new to the table. I was deceived by Buhari, that was the word, 8 years ago.
Yeah, because you were a major proponent.
Yes, even though till now I still support the APC. But I was deceived 4 years ago by the Buhari presidency. And I tell them that, my people in the APC, that I do not support the Buhari presidency now, because 4 years later I was to be made a member of the campaign council. I declined as I'm not interested. I work based on principles and based on convictions. I don't work based on what people really want me to do. But right now, as I speak, you know, maybe we'll say, okay, this person is I think he supported Tinubu. Don't think, no, that I'm supporting Tinubu because I have my reasons. Because of the delicate balance in this country, you must understand how this country works. Don't be carried away by social media. Nigeria, there are two major regions in Nigeria, the north and the south.
Okay.
Let me continue. If the south shares their votes, the north will take it. And if you notice, the north has one major candidate for this election. Kwakwaso will collapse, quote me, collapse the structure into Atiku's structure. The whole scheme is a plan for the north to continue with the presidency. So we Southerners should wash our eyes and see very well. Obi can win elections in Karanamoda. Who doesn't know Karanamoda? Who doesn't know Funtua? Who doesn't know in Potiskum? Elections are local. I'm telling you, you know, people might say, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's saying, but I'm telling you based on someone who understands this country to a reasonable extent. Politics is a business of interest. It starts for personal interest. Then it moves to group interest, then to class interest. Where we are now in this business of politics is the group interest, the major contending elements in Nigeria. And so, if you are voting, vote according to your interest. Don't vilify someone for supporting a candidate. That's his interest. If you think you are voting because you have a voter's card, good for you. The question you ask yourself as a citizen is, in this election, what do I have to gain? Don't say, I'm supporting this person because I love Nigeria. We all love Nigeria. That narrative is so whacked, and it's only kindergartens that talk, I am doing this person because nobody loves Nigeria more than you and I. You know what both of us did during the NSAS protest, how we were able to quell the tension. We spoke and said, we can't allow this to happen. Let's stop forwarding videos on our platforms and all that. We played a lot of role in quelling the NSAS protest because people were going to take it to another level. So if we, who as opinion leaders, should be able to shape the way the country would go. Now, the Obi presidency, I find it exciting myself. Do you understand? But I do not find it plausible.
Okay. A lot of people will say that the Obi movement is largely championed by young people. And if we look at the numbers, we understand that in Nigeria, Nigeria is a country of young people. And looking at the statistics and the number of young people who have come out to register and all of that, do you think realistically that your candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has enough right now to appeal to the younger generation? Because that is where the Obi movement is actually getting its momentum from. Young people are driving the Obi movement. Do you think that your candidate, looking at his age and all of that, has the what it takes to appeal to younger Nigerians, the younger generation?
Absolutely. The Tinubu campaign organization has over 100 groups working for them, and 70% are made up of the youths. To not be carried away by the workouts these people working out. There's a reason they go there. So want to meet new girls, new guys, so those want to exercise. Question how many of them have voters' cards. If they have voters' card, how many of them will come out on that day to vote? Even if they came out to vote, how many of them will vote their conscience? I have been at voting center. Some people say their conscience as small as 5,000 naira. They just calculate it, man. This 5K will reach me taste cook soup. They will just vote for the candidate they want to vote for. So you need to look at it from this perspective. All these emergency, what's it called, Labour Party members, they don't really have conviction. I have discussed with 3 of them that I convinced in less than 5 minutes. Do you understand? I won't tell you what I told them, like, wow, really? Okay, I'm with you. So you need to look at the issues from a holistic point of view. The campaigns have not started. What Labour Party is doing, they are doing workout. When the campaign starts, let me say something. When the campaign starts, you will understand that there's a difference between a campaign and a crusade.
Yeah, but you cannot deny the fact that.
Yes.
You cannot deny the fact that there's actually a growing movement within the Obi side. Of course. And it's enough to worry the PDP and the APC right now.
Very well.
The APC in particular, because the candidate of the APC is from the southern part of the country. The Obi movement is largely footed in the southern part of Nigeria, particularly in the southeastern states and in the south-south states of Nigeria, where the candidate of the APC is from the southwest, whereas the Obi movement also have a foothold in Lagos, where the candidate of the APC is from. And if Obi is able to garner votes from the southwest, the south-south, and the southeast, he may not win the presidency per se because of the you have to win certain amount of votes in particular states of the country to emerge as a president. But he might be able to hurt the southern candidate, the ambitions and the chances of Tinubu, knowing that the North might be fully united in support of their own. So, do you really think that right now, looking at Tinubu and looking at Obi, age-wise, experience-wise, and all of that, do you think that it is the Tinubu side who should be considering collapsing for an Obi presidency?
That's laughable.
Why is laughable?
Yeah, because
but
the question you should ask is, are you not scared that Obi will collapse the structure into Atiku's structure before the elections? I'm talking based on reality. Now, you analyze the matter as if you were doing a tribal elections. It's an election, it's a party politics elections. And Obi has his footholds in PDP. Do you understand? And Eastern Nigeria is more of PDP.
Exactly.
And I want to tell you that most of the governors of the Eastern extractions of the PDP party affiliation are not with Obi.
That's correct.
They are with Atiku. And someone like Wike, you'll be shocked where it will be just before the elections. And elections are local. So divide Nigeria into 36 states. Who controls the larger number of states?
The APC.
After that?
The PDP.
After that?
Well, I don't think is that
no, okay, it's Abda, right?
Yeah.
Good. Now, I met the Abda presidential candidate in Lagos, Justice Philip Obed. And I told you some things, we discussed. If you do not control a state, as we speak, Labour Party does not control a state, does not control a senatorial zone of the 109 senatorial zones in Nigeria. Perhaps they have 1 or 2 House of Reps. I don't know, House of Assembly, 1 or 2.
Who defected?
Excuse me, please. If you don't have a local government that they control right now, you have 774 local governments in Nigeria. Do you think elections are on Twitter? Edo State has 192 wards. I don't think Labour Party has ever had a councillor from any of the wards. They're just establishing ward ESCOs right now. Establishing ward ESCOs. Because people have concluded strategies for elections. These things are very, very vital in running a presidential
No, but nobody is saying that. Nobody is saying that
yeah.
in this conversation right now. Nobody is saying that Labour Party will win this election.
Okay.
But what we are saying is this: that the growing trend, it might not be for 2023 general elections, but there's a movement.
I agree with you.
There's a movement. Nigerians are getting tired of the PDP and the APC.
I agree with you.
I am a member of the PDP and I've been.
I also agree with you on that.
People are feeling.
But I also feel like using the word Nigerians are getting tired.
Yeah.
That's what happened at the NBA. Like you say, lawyers too. I'm a lawyer, so don't make such general statements.
Okay, look, okay. I will say some.
Yes.
Okay, some Nigerians,
yes.
some Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are getting tired.
Some
Of the. No, I would say a lot because a lot of Nigerians are getting tired of the APC and the PDP. You could see that most Nigerians will tell you that the problems of Nigeria are the APC and the PDP in terms of governance, that they haven't really managed Nigeria to a place of Eldorado, and they think that there is need for a third force.
Yeah.
And over the last few months, we've seen this trend of young people trying to get themselves involved in the political process, particularly with Labour Party. I'm not saying that Labour Party will win this election, but I believe that Labour Party may be able to cause a major upset. For example, if we end up having a runoff, because in the Nigerian law, you are a lawyer, you understand that you have to win a certain number of votes and certain number of states. So if the two major parties are not able to get those numbers, if any of them is not able to get that number in the first election, that it means that we'll be, for the first time in Nigerian politics, we'll be having a runoff elections. So do you think that the Labour Party at that stage will now be able to say, okay, I am the deciding factor in this race? Yeah, whoever I go with will emerge. Whoever I decide not to support will not emerge.
There will be no runoff. The elections is a two-way traffic. Article to the book.
Okay.
Take it from me.
Excuse
me, sir. You would have been saying that, or you would have been saying that if Labour Party did well during the last two gubernatorial elections, the people who are the promoters of the Labour Party, they know what they are doing. It's for you to follow them. Maybe you gain 1 or 2 traction on Facebook. That's the only thing you will gain in all this process. But the people who are doing what they are doing, they know what they are doing. Obi is not a neophyte. Obi has played politics the Nigerian way. When he won the governorship in Anambra State, he was denied. How did he get it back?
Through the judicial system.
Did my thesis in LLB on Anambra State's impeachment of Governor Chris Ngige, and I seem to know an awful lot of what happened in that state. So some of the knowledge that is making me to situate Obi where he is because I know what happened. I know exactly how it played out. In the Nigerian political system, let us call a spade a spade. You must capture, using Colonel Hamid Ali's words, 5 different components of the Nigerian system. You must capture the INEC. You must capture the media. You must capture the security. You must capture, 6 really. You must capture the observers. You must capture the judiciary. Sadly, the voters come last in the pecking order. It sounds, those are the 6 elements, but If you want to, madness is when you do something the same way and you expect a different result. So if you really wanted to be president, like you are saying, you have to look at our electoral system. Look at the Constitution. Look at the Electoral Law 2022. There has to be a way of, trying to say, okay, let our votes really count. How can you possibly send policemen to polling units and they don't have guns? Those are not policemen, they are onlookers. Because when the push comes to the shove, they will run for their dear life. I have had to monitor the elections with the Nigerian Bar Association as an official, where we stormed the venue. And some boys came with guns. The first people to take us were the policemen. We were the ones that saved the day. We told them, like, guys, forget that we're lawyers. Don't have to do this. And they knew us, and they were like, we made some calls. The police came and took them away. Well, so within a few minutes, they were released on bail. And nothing was heard of it. So, what are we talking about? If the truth of it, I said something that a campaign is not a crusade. Let me dwell on that a little bit. If you went to the voting center now, major parties, this is the truth. Before elections, they deploy money for they call them those who mobilize for each unit. You know what I'm talking about. At least you have been. You'll be part of the process. They deploy money for security.
Now, security and all of this.
Yes. So then you now become speaking English that I'm going to do it the Nigerian way. Then you're speaking English. You're deceiving yourselves. That's the truth. Because you and I know that when you go to the electoral, what's it called? The venue of the election, the polling center. There are people holding guns there. People know they are holding guns. They won't say anything. There are people holding money. I run the coalition against vote buyers. And I have a mantra that you can buy the delegates, but you cannot buy them. And I'm very serious about it, irrespective of my party affiliation. I cannot be part of a vote buying process. If you want to win an election, go and win it fair and square. When I monitored the last general elections in Nigeria, as part of the NBA team, even the police saw them sharing money. They were looking at them, the police, the DSS. But when they saw us, Nigerian bar, as we came, they ran with the money. So it's not just about holding guns, it's about having the system to work and knowing that everybody is accountable for whatever happens in and around you. The INEC have improved the template through the beavers, which is a machine that tends to record your biometrics and all that, and ensures that you cannot alter the voting process or the voting numbers and all that. But beyond all that rhetoric, I have been part of election petitions tribunal. There are still ways you can get around all that.
So where are the ways? What are the ways?
There are ways.
Okay.
There are ways you can get around. I'm talking generally. There are ways you can get around all that.
We don't have too much time, so I'm going to take you on this issue before we call it a wrap.
Yeah.
People talk so much about the age of your presidential candidates, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes.
So what would you categorically say is the true age of Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
I say you go and check the INEC records. It's there. It's on the website. I'm not the one that gave birth to him. Check the records. It's on the website.
So what's the age on the records?
You said?
What's the age on the records?
Check the records. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
I'm a man of records. It's on the website. The age of Ahmed Bola Tinubu is on the website. Then
on which website can we find that
website,
age? Okay, that's number one. And then there are a lot of people also there's a lot of controversies around how he became stupendously rich.
Okay.
And people have been asking, what does Bola Ahmed Tinubu do?
Okay.
What is his source of income?
Okay.
How did he become rich? How did he become so rich that he controls everything in Lagos?
Okay.
Practically everything in Lagos. So maybe you could have something to tell those people that ask
I have a whole lot to say about
something. We'd like to hear that.
Okay, the first thing I will tell them is, you say the man is stupendously rich. So tell us his net worth and let us know what he has, what he owns, and what he does not own. Because sometimes we look, but we see differently. People just talk. People think I'm very, very rich. If a man packages himself well, does not really mean that he's very, very rich. You don't say he's very, very rich. He's the owner of this, he's the owner of that. What is your proof? It's not just to talk is cheap. Do you understand? And I know the Nigerian political system, they are very good at tagging you to a narrative, to demarket you before the electorate. Like most of the Obi people that I know now, they are not campaigning for Obi. They are marketing Bola Tinubu and Shetima through bad narrative. And some Nigerian media think that this one I'm talking about is there must be something about them. Don't think that you vote them. That's what happened in Buhari's case. They have set aside money to demarket. You are both media specialists, you know what I'm talking about. So if you say the guy is stupendously rich, is the owner of this, is the one running Lagos, what is your proof? You don't just say he's the one running Lagos. I can't just say, Okpere is the owner of TSL. I mean, I should have been able to produce the certificate of registration of TSL at the CAC and say, this is it. We just talk. The truth of the matter is that if you look at the American elections, when Mrs. Clinton was facing the email scandal, they brought proof. Right now, Trump is being accused of missing classified information with private information in a way that will endanger American security. They have proof. You can't just talk and you don't have proof. You expect me to believe you that Tinubu is the owner of this one? How would I know? Just name out.
Okay, let's jump to another interesting angle that a lot of people have been looking at, which is the you've been seeing social media, you've been seeing where Tinubu, people say he's struggling age-wise. I mean, we all get old one day, but do you think that, you know, it gets us a certain area where you have to look at the constitution of Nigeria? For example, there is an age prescription for someone who can be president of Nigeria.
Okay.
It says the person has to be 40 and above and all of that. Shouldn't we have this age cap also? Where it's okay, if somebody is 80 and above, he can't run for presidency anymore. Because you see, most times, I also say that of the PDP as well. You see the candidate of the APC and the PDP, I think they are pretty old men. And at this age, at this time, can we still be looking at such people to be pushing them into a job that requires some level of physicality and all of that?
And how old is Obi?
Obi is 60 or thereabout. I'm not so sure. Okay.
So in essence, what you're saying is that Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku are perhaps of the same generation. But if you look at it critically, at the time that Obi was a governor, Tinubu was that same time, I think, a governor. And Atiku was a vice president at that time. They had run Nigeria in one way or the other at the same time.
At the same time, yes, now, that's correct.
You know, so the issue of Tinubu daggling and all that, first of all, you shouldn't forget that in order for you, I need to say this, say critically, in order for you to believe social media posts or videos, you must verify it. Anything is possible. Do you understand? That's one. Number two, I have had the opportunity of seeing Tinubu. I did not say any of those things you're talking about. Tinubu is not answering any of you, you know, because he will laugh over it and say, what is this? Why don't you go and file a case in court? I say he's not qualified to be president, and let's meet you there. So, you know, Nigeria is a very funny country. You must understand this country the way it works. That's how they came with Buhari's own that Buhari killed his first wife, and all that Buhari ended up winning the election. That's why Buhari was very wicked. Because he told himself, these people, I go show their pepper. You understand? But I'm just trying to explain to you that all these narratives are all propaganda. During the Hitler government of the 30s and the 40s, they had a minister of propaganda. PDP, APC, they have people who are propagandists. Do you understand? And all they do is to, if you bring, I was in Atlantic City. It was Tinubu that did that. The whole of Atlantic, what you call it, Bar Beach gone. High rise everywhere. Why don't you talk about that?
Unfortunately, that's enough time enough for
the BRT, the Bronze Response Transport, that it has a dedicated lane, the only one in Nigeria. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you talk about the very seamless way of controlling traffic in the chaotic Lagos that's even more chaotic than Lagos with the elements of the last man?
Unfortunately, we have another time.
Why don't you talk about that?
We have another time to talk about that.
Talking about Tinubu's good work.
No. Time is up for us
indeed.
Today. I'm sorry about that. But indeed, I would like to have you again so we can shed more light on all of this going forward. And I would like to have maybe somebody from the Atiku side as well, and somebody from the Obi side. So it's a more balanced.
I'll be open.
Yes, a more balanced conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, my dear brother.
It's good to have
Thank you so much.
Looking so good today.
I enjoyed myself. You too.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Yeah, that's all we can take for today. Please do well to follow our YouTube channel. It's always exciting programs there for you to watch to keep you engaged every time. Follow our Instagram channels and everywhere, and follow all our social media platforms. TSLNIGERIA TV. Just go click the notification buttons, and then whenever we post, you'll be there to see it firsthand. Thank you. We'll see you again on Wednesday with another exciting topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.